WWE's 2025 Royal Rumble is right around the corner, and we are going to break down some of the bigger moments that could happen as far as surprises, returns, even debuts for the women's side of the Royal Rumble. Now, a previous video I did, I kind of broke down who I thought the participants were going to be for the Royal Rumble. That proved to be very difficult. Just to try to narrow things down and try to predict where things are going. One thing that the WWE is doing really good is there's a purpose for everything. Even if fans are not excited about the pacing of the way that things are unraveling, the way that things are being done is very deliberate. It's very cerebral. And if you look at who is at the helm of this, it makes a whole lot of sense. You see what I did there? So yeah, so you can tell that there's a lot to this process of writing, of building these things. It all happens for a reason. Say no more than the 2024 Royal Rumble last year, specifically in the men's. Every participant had a through line with somebody. There was a reason they were in the ring. There was a reason they were in the Royal Rumble. I love that. And I look for more of that at this year's Royal Rumble. Everybody is going to have a purpose. There is going to be a reason for everybody to be out there. Motivation, a sense of urgency. All of that is going to play a factor into the Royal Rumble. For the men's Royal Rumble, I feel like you're going to see less returns, debuts, those things. You're going to see more of advancing of storylines. An advancing of their characters, an evolution, if you will. You're going to see a lot of that. And I mean, you're going to get down to the nitty gritty. I mean, imagine CM Punk and Roman Reigns and John Cena all in the ring with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre as the final five. I think it would be huge. The crowd would they would explode. I'm still not sure that I buy John Cena against Cody Rhodes. I don't know if the WWE would risk doing that. I understand that, John Cena has a story of his own, and Cody Rhodes has just finished his story last year. John Cena wants to break that record for world title hold. I get it all. I understand it. I'm just not sure if you should put Cody in that position to where half the crowd is not going to be a fan of him. And only for one night, if only for one night or whatever. But, I digress. We're here to talk about the women's Royal Rumble, the women's participants. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the participants. You don't have to worry. I mean, that's just a lot of homework. That's a lot to go through. So what I'm really going to focus on are some of the returns, some of the debuts, some of the bigger moments that you could expect to see at this women's Royal Rumble matchup. This might be the last year we get two Royal Rumbles in the same night. It's a very controversial topic. I've had a video about that where I feel like the Royal Rumble is going to be two nights. Not too many people really agree with me on that, but I feel like it's inevitable at this point. We've gotten a two-night SummerSlam, a two-night WrestleMania. I feel like a two-night Royal Rumble makes a lot more sense than all of those, to be honest with you. I mean, aside from WrestleMania, over SummerSlam, I would have said two-night Royal Rumble in a heartbeat, because you got two Royal Rumbles. They're both a little over an hour, if not over an hour, and then you've got room for maybe two or three other matches. With the way that the WWE formats their pay-per-views or their PLEs, you don't really have a whole lot of room to put like 5 matches on top of 2 Royal Rumbles on the card. You didn't really have a whole lot of room for matches when you only had 1 Royal Rumble. So you basically cut that in half. You get the point. So this might be the last time you see 2 Royal Rumbles under one night. If they are to stretch out the Royal Rumbles, make them 2 nights, and have one night capped with the women's Royal Rumble, this will be a good starting point for that, because this could potentially be one of the most star-studded WWE Women's Royal Rumbles in a long time. And this is also going to be a little bit of a kind of an accompaniment to a video I did on the Hall of Fame. And so let me lead with that, since I gave you the teaser. I believe in the Royal Rumble for the women's division, you're going to see Mickie James and Victoria. But there's also a potential for Jacqueline to show up in the Royal Rumble as well. So you've got 3 women that are responsible for the athleticism, are responsible for the roster of talent that you see today in some ways. because if it wouldn't have been for Victoria and Mickie James and Jacqueline before them tearing the house down in the WWE women's division, the Divas division, all of the divisions, maybe you wouldn't see the Charlotte Flairs, the Becky Lynch, the Nia Jax, the Liv Morgan, the Rhea Ripleys of the world, and the ones that are right around the corner in the Cora Jades, in the Roxanne Perez, in the Kiana James, in the Jada Parker. I really believe that the WWE would love to showcase having legends walk out for the Royal Rumble 2025 in the women's division. I think this is where you're going to see a lot of surprises and excitement. So my thoughts on that is that you will see Victoria and Jacqueline show up in the Royal Rumble as two entrants. It would be amazing, and I think they still got something special like that up their sleeves. I also believe if you look at who's injured in the women's division right now, you've got Alexa Bliss, you've got Charlotte Flair, and you've got Becky Lynch, and also you got Kiana James. I believe we see most, if not all of them, return at the Royal Rumble. I think it'll be a good opportunity to see these huge returns that we have been waiting on for Charlotte Flair. I mean, the better part of a year and a half, almost 2 years now, we have been looking to see when Charlotte Flair was going to come back. So this is a long time in the making for Charlotte Flair. She has taken a long time to completely rehabilitate, to take care of nagging injuries, and I think she's going to come back bigger and better than ever. There was a video package that they had for her on SmackDown this past Friday. I believe that we are gearing up to see her return, and what better way than in the Royal Rumble. Becky Lynch as well. We have been clamoring to get a return for Becky Lynch. I believe there is a storyline potential with her and Lyra Valkyria. So I think that this is the time to bring her back. For Alexa Bliss, I'm not so sure. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where there's room for her. She's dynamic. She is going to be play an important part in the women's division. She is definitely needed, but it's just about where they're going to put her. Are they going to stick her with Liv Morgan, where she has some history there? Are they going to put her with the Wyatt Six, where there's history there? Which way is she going to gear towards? Is she going to come back just as regular Alexa Bliss, or is she going to come back as a supernatural entity? We don't know. I'm very interested in that, so I'm not really going to hold out hope that she does return at the Royal Rumble. It would be an amazing surprise if she were to return, but I'm really cashing in on the Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and I believe we might see Kiana James as well. I don't know the story about Kiana James and if she's going to be healthy, but I would say look for her to potentially be in the Royal Rumble if she is available. And also now for the NXT call-ups. I think for the NXT, you're going to see Roxanne Perez almost assuredly. She's got a situation there with Bayley that they're brewing, and they're revving up for that. I think it could be a good match at WrestleMania if they went that route, and I believe we will see her in the Royal Rumble. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. We will see Roxanne Perez show up in the Royal Rumble. I'm also thinking of the return of Asuka. Asuka will more than likely return at the Royal Rumble as well. I'm wondering how they're going to have her come back in, because it would be interesting if she came in and she went after Dakota Kai, after Kairi Sane, or after Io Sky. I think that would be more dynamic and more interesting for her if she went after them instead of teaming up with them. The Empress of Tomorrow, the Evil Empress. I think that there's a lot there with that. And there's definitely a need for a heel in the WWE Women's Division, especially on the Raw side right now. So if she is to return, I would look for her to go that route. I think it would be more interesting. I think there's a lot more to get out of her as a heel at this point. I would also say it could be highly possible we see Stephanie Vacuor or Julia show up in the Royal Rumble as well. And then on the TNA side, Jordynne Grace, no longer with TNA, but an affiliate of sorts. I think this is going to be her debut as a WWE superstar at the 2025 Royal Rumble. One thing that I would have loved to see, all the rumors, all of the problems with this superstar aside, Tessa Blanchard showing up at the Royal Rumble would be huge. If only for the confrontation with Charlotte Flair. If only for the confrontation with Chelsea Green. Talk about money, right? I mean, if they can get their differences aside. Because obviously there was some real animosity that went deeper and beyond the storylines of professional wrestling. So if they were able to come to a truce, and for all intents and purposes, I feel like Tessa Blanchard is in the rehabilitation process. She is trying to make amends. She hasn't publicly apologized. I hear a lot of people clamoring for that. But it seems behind the scenes, she is doing her due diligence to clear her name and make do and change. So we'll see what happens with that. But if Tessa Blanchard were to show up in the Royal Rumble, it would be the talk of the internet wrestling community. They would explode, especially if she had a confrontation with Chelsea Green and or Charlotte Flair. So it all comes down to who I feel is going to walk away at the Royal Rumble as a winner. I have gone over so many ideas in my head about who it could potentially be. One idea I have is Bianca Belair. And the reason why is because there's a lot of story there with her winning the Royal Rumble and Jade coming back and accusing Bianca of attacking her. There's also another story where Jade pretends to be attacked so that she can get Bianca out of the tournament to crown the first ever women's United States champion. And then there's even another story on top of that where Jade comes back and is jealous. There's so much you can play with in an eventual Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill feud. I think it's also good to mix things up. And a Bianca Belair Rhea Ripley match at WrestleMania is big money. It's huge. And they teased it a little bit during War Games. At this juncture, Bianca Belair is at the point in her career where it's time for her to have a WrestleMania moment. It's time for her to be in a women's world championship scenario against someone like Rhea Ripley. If they're going to pull the trigger at a ripe 35, I think she's turning 36, it is time for Bianca Belair to have her moment. She is one of the biggest stars in the WWE, and to pit her in a dream scenario match with Rhea Ripley is a must-see attraction. And it's one of the few dream match scenarios that the WWE has for the women's division at this point. I would love to see it. The fans would love to see it. I think it's time to pull the trigger. So, although I would love to see Asuka, although I would love to see Charlotte Flair and or Io Sky win the Royal Rumble, I must say I'm putting all of my chips in for Bianca Belair. But what do you guys think? Do you think that there's going to be a couple of legends like Victoria and Jackie? If not Victoria and Jackie, do you think it's going to be Mickie James? Who do you think is going to show up as far as the legend? Who do you think is going to show up as far as the NXT superstar? Are there going to be people from TNA? Are there going to be some big returns from injuries? Are we going to see Becky Lynch back? Are we going to see Charlotte Flair? You guys, let me know in the comments. It's in the comments section where it says comments. That's where you can leave comments and leave as many comments as you like. I can comment with your comment and we can have a good time. And don't forget to smash that like button so hard that it walks funny in the morning. And until next time, this is the Wrestling Old Head in the portal of pro wrestling. Stay tuned for more.